Hello there and welcome. It is Rebekah R. Jones with 86 pens in the Illustrating Bible for you. I promised to test all of the pens that you might be interested in, and I hope that this will satisfy your desire to know how your particular pens might work in here. Against my better judgment, I am using even the pens I know are going to do terribly just so that you can see how bad or how good they turn out. Now, what I'm doing here is I've got a couple of pages here that are in the back, thankfully, because the Illustrating Bible is designed like that. And I've put this little thing together and I'm going to make it a download for you in case you want to go ahead and follow along with me and do something like this in your Illustrating Bible when it shows up with your pens. And so you can get into the description box and go ahead and do that. Now you can see this quite fine through the paper without this light box. However, it's very handy in the studio lights for you to be able to see what on earth I'm actually doing, and it makes things a little bit easier and interesting. You're more than welcome to get this free download by clicking in the description box and heading over there. I'm going to put some paper behind here so that I don't go straight over onto my faux suede back cover as I test everything out, and then I'm going to start right in. I am going to speed things up considerably as I go here. There is the Faber-Castell Pitt pens to start things off, and I'm just testing a variety of pens. So what we've got here is the microns. Faber-Castell is a real favorite of mine, but the microns are something that a lot of you talk to me about and say that you absolutely love. Stick around for the end where I'm going to flip this page over so you can see the results on the back. I personally love Pitt pens because I think they work really well on top of page prep and on top of your pages, and they're permanent, so they're great for mixed media. Microns act very funny with certain mixed media products. They're quite good if you just want them on paper, but if you try anything fancy or you do anything mixed media, you're going to have problems with your microns. Staedtler is another real favorite of mine, maybe not as easy for everyone to find, but they are great pigment pen. Unipens, they're not very good actually. They tend to dry out here and there. Le Pen drawing, no, I don't have anything to say negative about it, but I think it's just your general pen. Copic multiliners, not my favorite to use Copic, and you'll see why. Prismacolor Premier fineliner markers, I don't think they're anything particularly special, and I think they do have a little bit of an issue with creative products. So you can see how I corrected that with a white paint marker, and you'll look at those in a bit. The Derwent graphic line makers are okay on paper, but boy oh boy are they terrible on top of anything that isn't 100% porous. They just don't dry and they will smear terribly, kind of like what microns do. So stick away from the Derwent graphic line makers and the microns if you're doing any mixed media. As you can see, that Stabilo light gray has a real blotchiness to it. That's how all of the Stabilo pens are on Bible paper. It's just not the right kind of paper for Stabilo pens. The Staedtler Triplus fineliner and color, those are actually a cheaper quality Staedtler. They're not the fineliner proper fineliners above, and I don't find them as good a quality, but they do the trick. Jelly roll pens, I think, are absolutely fine if you've got a variety of those colors. You're going to see Sharpies here, ultra fine point, and the regular fine point, which has been used the world over for all sorts of things. I'm leaving a bit of space there on purpose for some other things I'll come back to. And I'm starting in on some other things like the Uniball Gel Impact. I realize this is fast, but we've got 86 pens here, guys. So the Uniball Signo Broad is the same kind of pen that the white is in, and you'll see those in a bit. The Illustrated Faith Basics pens here, these are great. I think they are wonderful. They're a fun color range and they work well. I am gonna pop over to leave that for a minute to dry, and then I'm going to do my white pens down here. Of course, you're going to have to take my word for this because we're doing on white, but everybody begged to see white, so we're looking at white right on this paper. And I suppose if anything, it proves that this paper is in fact white because the white is not really showing up very well on it. What I would say is that these first two options that I showed, the Uniball Signo Broad, a real favorite, the Uniposca PC1MR 0.7 millimeter, that is a real favorite for correcting mistakes, and that's the one I'm using when I'm correcting mistakes across here. You can see I'm leaving space for the Illustrated Faith Precision, and I apologize, I misplaced my precision pens. That's probably because I use them occasionally, and so I'm not going to be able to test those in here, but I'm leaving space for them. So then I'm going to go into some other paint pens. You saw me use the Copics. We'll see how the Copics do. And these paint pens, now I'm testing all of these. Please remember, I'm testing all of these on the Illustrating Bible paper, which is 75% thicker than traditional paper. If you use this same set of pens inside of a traditional Bible and you want to see how that works, I go over all of that in my page prep course, and it's in lots of thoroughness and much slower, more more there for you to look at. So if you want to do that, I'll put some details below that you can check out. I'm really interested in this Uniposca pen. You can see how it has brush bristles, and it is actually an acrylic pen, just like the paint pens. And this Pentel Arts color brush is a watercolor pen. Notice these when you go to the back. Here's their Crayola Super Tips, which everybody asked about. And then we're on to Tombow Dual Brush. And, you know, I think that this is just a variety of things, but the key to remember here is that not all pens are actually meant to be used on this type of paper. Markers are supposed to be on a certain type of paper, colored pencils are certain type of paper, Sharpies, and the list goes on. So let's slow this down. Let's have a look at what is going on behind here. And I think that it's important to just remember that not all pens are created equal, and that's for a good reason. They all need something different, and you can see those Copics and Sharpies did terribly. The Crayola Super Tips at the bottom there, that watercolor brush pen, they are bleeding into the paper, if not straight through. And in fact, the Copics even marked, the Copics and Sharpies marked the papers that I had put behind. So the thing here to remember is that there's a difference between shadowing and bleed through. And some of that is heavy shadowing, some of it is very light shadowing up there, but the difference is what matters to you. If you want to use only light colored things so that you don't get that shadowing, you go for it. Stick away from the stuff that's going to bleed through, but remember that this is only going to work well for what you own. So make your own. Get the download if you want it, or create your own title, and then create a little cheat sheet for yourself in your Bible with your paper. It's very, very, as we've seen in a previous video that I shared earlier, this paper is different than other paper, which is basically the same across the board. We're going over color products next, and that is coming to you soon. So talk to me about your favorite pens in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. What are you surprised by, not surprised by? I'll see you in the comments and on our color video soon.